Kryon, the purpose of Old Soul's greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. Is it possible that this new energy on this planet could actually change the purpose of the presence of Old Souls on Earth? Did you hear that correctly? Is it possible that your purpose could change right now, from what you have always imagined it to be to something else, because the energy of the planet is shifting profoundly? I speak to you now in this new energy of 2026 that I've spoken of and discussed, because it is a new energy. It is an energy you have never had before. And what if your purpose begins to change? That purpose that the human has always had on this planet is to find God within themselves. That is why you are here. And this leads to many other things, but not to a single purpose. It is unique to each individual. Usually, we have spoken of it as finding joy, finding a place that fulfills you, because then this spreads to the planet, and you end up, one might say, broadcasting your joy to something else. And what would that be? I want to give you some updated and new information that we have channeled only once so far, and only recently, and only during Kryon's live gatherings. It is time to show it to you here. There is something inside you that has always been there, something sacred and divine that has been defined, studied, and worked upon. It is the sacred geometry of what you would call your Merkaba. Now, if you have seen those geometric shapes and the chemistry, I would say, even within your body that we speak of, it all revolves around what you would call the double tetrahedron. There are actually two tetrahedral shapes nested within each other, one pointing down and one pointing up. It is a classic shape. This is the shape you could assign to what is the vehicle, the Merkaba, the vessel, we could say, of the human being. Almost all of you have seen this shape. For almost all of the time spent on your planet, we have spoken of you as a great antenna. We have described your very DNA as an antenna. Now, this double tetrahedron is a geometric shape, we could say sacred geometry, but it is a construction, we could say, of the imagination. It is totally invisible. It is not something you will find in your body. It is a metaphor for the sacredness of the geometry within you. Now, where does it reside? It resides in the double helix. That is another very interesting shape. And so, within it, together they create an antenna, and we have already spoken of this antenna. What does this antenna do? What does it actually pick up? And as we have told you, it has always been able to pick up things that are esoterically available in the field. The field is not a new construction, but your use of it is. We should repeat this. The field, meaning that collective consciousness that surrounds you, made of thoughts and energies, the physics of consciousness, that field has always existed. Some are able to perceive it. They might possess unusual gifts. Remote viewers, all of them, but now it is accessible to everyone. And it is from here that enhanced intuition comes. It is from here that some of the gifts and tools of this new energy come. Your ability to access the field. It is as if your antennas are rising higher than ever before. Your Merkaba, your DNA, all together, picking up what you need in order not to stumble into life's traps. We have been teaching this for a long time. I hold courses on the subject, dear ones. This is not new, but what I am about to tell you is new. Why is that double tetrahedron enclosed within the Merkaba shape, one point down and one point up? It has always been this way. As below, so above, thus it is in both areas. That is the balance you have heard about for a long time, but that is not the reason for one point up and one point down. Dear one, what has been indicated is what is now being activated in this new energy toward, I would say, a higher energetic state. You see, I am looking for three-dimensionality, dimensionality. I am looking for a word that you don't have yet. Kryon chuckles. It might be a word that is coming into the English language. It is about the placement of what you have inside into another place. You don't have a word. My partner struggles to understand these concepts, and you just saw it. He struggles because there is not yet a specific terminology. There is no word to define them. So I will use a term that you understand and that I am now explaining to my partner. You are a transmitter. It's not quite right, but you are. You thought your antenna only received, but there is something you should know. The reason there is a double tetrahedron is because the upward pointing one, the antenna, transmits. Where does it transmit? What does it transmit? This is all new. No wonder my partner struggled. It is new. You are taking the awareness of the compassion of the God within you, and you are pushing it somewhere, into the field. You are pushing it into the field. There is not yet a word to describe it. It is more than transmitting. Transmitting means sending a signal from A to B. That is not it. It is the essence of who you are and the God within you. It is the essence of the soul pushing itself into the field for the very first time. Dear ones, this is the new purpose of the old soul. to learn to transmit, to push into the field. Why? What is happening? That great unconscious, you could say, the collective that is the field, which consists of many thoughts not necessarily coherent that you are gathering, begins to transform the field around this planet, making it coherent. And coherence is divinity. You are pushing a greater truth into the field, as the souls you are. This should give you chills. You are spreading a greater truth into the field, which can then be picked up by almost anyone who desires it. You are creating a mechanism capable of speaking to all of humanity, if interested. A mechanism of the field and a greater truth that is coherent and will arrive at its destination thanks to the antennas of all humanity. All human beings possess the antenna of intuition. That is a fact. But in this new energy, dear ones, the transmitter is more than this. The push of greatness is also available. The upward-pointing part of the sacred geometry Merkaba is more than a transmitter. A word that is not here yet that tells the essence of the inner God of the human being. The vessel of your Merkaba, perhaps a piece and a part pushed into the field. What happens when tens of thousands of individuals awakening in a new energy begin to push? Kryon, that's wonderful. How is it done? It is done through joy. It is done through compassion, and it is not something you have to do by willpower. It is automatic when you connect with your heart and feel these things, when you touch the face of God, and everything manifests. This is the new thing. This is the wonderful thing. This is the thing you didn't expect. Oh, there is much more, dear ones, but I wanted to show you this. Yes, there is a greater purpose for all of you. There is more coming, perhaps even the right word next time. And so it is. The energies of June 2026, dear ones. As we enter the second half of this intense 2026, many of us will be initiated into a new level of ascension, merging with our divine identities and evolved timelines, eliminating the distortions that limit our true potential and essence. June is a portal that we all choose to cross, a portal that can only be reached within us and that leads us to our inner wisdom, for we are entering, as the seventh universal number of June emphasizes, a passage to restore our divine design and, with it, all the wisdom we carry within, as eternal souls journeying between worlds. June is rich in important transits that will help us examine ourselves simultaneously, becoming more flexible, and losing our deep human sense of time and space, so that we can detach from our rigid mental patterns and our ways of seeing reality, and heal from a unified space everything we are. A seventh universal month, resulting from the sum of our current first universal month plus the number 6 of June, representing the phase of wisdom integration in which we will be immersed throughout the summer, empowering and stabilizing our entire light body, as the 6-6 passage reminds us in the midst of all this intense incarnation. From an astrological perspective, June brings important changes. Chiron leaves Aries and enters Taurus, along with the T-square between Uranus and Gemini, which forms a 90-degree angle with the nodes, and Jupiter leaves Cancer and enters Leo. The first weeks will be invaded by the calm before the storm, preparing us for the massive descent of light that we already perceive and that will ignite our skies during the summer. We now move from having healed our identity and survival wounds to growing in self-love and awareness of our worth with Taurus, also focusing on physical ascension and making tangible everything we have learned by focusing on ourselves with Aries. While Chiron was in Aries, we asserted ourselves in the world. We remembered who we are, our place in the world, and our true identity, understanding that we are not just a body, but the consciousness that underlies it and allows it to exist. With Taurus, it is no longer about proving who we are, but about loving, valuing, and accepting ourselves and everything we do and manifest in the world, becoming ascended beings. Collectively and individually, with Taurus, we must now face our wounds related to abundance, security, and primal fears, moving toward a space more in tune with our true nature as unlimited beings. Only when we feel secure in who we are and in our ability to create worlds can we move on to physical ascension, which is what many of you will be working on in the coming months. Physical incarnation and your activation as ascended spiritual sovereigns. The T-square between Uranus and the nodes will represent a crossroads for many who are still choosing their path. This is a time of profound change and self-analysis, a time to correct timelines, change trajectory, and, above all, eliminate karmic patterns, which are usually nothing more than our spiritual distortions, our guilt programming, and, if necessary, redirect our current path, freeing ourselves from our past, because, as I always say, our past is everything that precedes the present. As the guides always repeat, there is no wrong path. When we choose a path, consciously and with the heart, we will always find valuable lessons, and even if it is not the best path for us, we will discover it and change trajectory, strengthened by everything we have already learned within it. Nothing is ever wrong. Everything serves us, and we can always choose again, which is our greatest gift on this free planet. To choose again and again who we want to become and what we want to create, something that does not happen in evolved dimensions, because in them there is only one choice: love. Meanwhile, we also have the solstice and other events that will continue to expand the interdimensional frequencies of the plasma diamond we embody, and that will serve many as living bridges to exist physically on the planet. For our planet is already connected to many Andromedan pillars that act as bridges for those ready to choose a more evolved dimension. There are many other bridges connecting Earth with other dimensions. It all depends on our frequency when we leave the planet. The more consciously we live, the more love we embody, ascending toward conscious timelines. Many choose an intermediate dimension to heal and regenerate after living on Earth, because it is not an easy planet. However, our focus is not on what will be, but on what is now and what we can do to transform ourselves, so that the whole may also do so. At the end of June, on the 30th, Jupiter enters Leo, together with Mercury retrograde in the same sign the previous day. That is why this time Mercury will remain in Cancer for so long. Jupiter, which expands everything it touches, in Leo will invite us to embrace our inner power, to be confident, to remain steadfast in who we are, in our crystalline hearts, neutralizing and transmuting with our inner fire everything that tempts us. It is about expressing oneself and one's soul, using our truth to illuminate, never to convince or impose. It is no longer about possibility. It is about will. We are, and therefore we will, because we now move from a space of complete autonomy and sovereignty in everything we say and do, being coherent and acting as integrated and impeccable beings, aware of who we are and of our power to become what we wish to be. Every planetary event adds extra energy to what we are already experiencing within us. There is no future event, force, or transit that can trigger what only we can do, through our choice to evolve. All of them are evolving in turn, often mirroring us. Remove and revoke all authorization from external forces to control what only you can create. Co-creation is the new way we choose to interact, not dependency. Free yourself from all fear, and you will only see what has always been within you: your divine magnificence. The future timeline of Earth we were waiting for is already here, within us, in every thought and action. For the more aware we become, the more loving and compassionate our reality will be. May you continue to become divine design, beloved. Within infinite love, Natalia, Alba, the Collective. A message from the Dragon Tribes. This week's guidance from the higher light Dragon Tribes. You see the clouds on the horizon, light bearer, and yet you know the sun is more powerful than ever. Dramatic reports of conflict, shock, and loss are heard in different parts of the world. And yet you know that something grand and unprecedented has happened to life on Earth, and that there is still more to come. You are not the type to despair in the face of outward signs and symbols. You are the one who must recreate. You are the one who sifts through the ashes for treasure, adding light to your discovery, to form a diamond crystal from what others had long abandoned. You are the one who has understood that true power does not come from possessing or controlling. It comes from the awareness that we create our life and, by extension, our planet and humanity's reality in every moment of every day. You are not static and unchanging. You are evolving ever higher, moment by moment. You are the one who is not afraid to meet those who inhabit other planets and star systems. This is who you are. The one who is able to move forward into extraordinary times where self-assertion, both individual and collective, becomes as natural as the air you breathe. You are not here to cower and wonder what other pain, stress, and high costs others will impose on you. It is certainly not up to you to think about a group of dull, self-proclaimed people and decide that they have power over you. Their power is illusory, while yours is real. Remember the words of the poet Percy Bysshe Shelley, who reminds everyone, you are many, they are few. This is your life and your planet. Live it with joy. Know that you are the creator in human form. You are not here to live in fear, uncertainty, or scarcity. You are the one who moves forward with joy, knowing that you are here to create lives full of wonderful moments, without being impressed by the fact that life will sometimes seem troubled and heavy. You are the one who knows, the one who says aloud, I am the creator in human form, and in all this universe, I am never alone. The dragons speak the language of light, and so it is. June arrives as a threshold month. June arrives as a threshold month. A point of preparation and choice between what is already inner awakening and the much broader collective changes preparing to emerge in July. This month is less about immediate action and more about recalibration. Inner systems are updated first. Your way of thinking, your values, your priorities, your desires, and ultimately, the choices you are willing to make in the future. Before the next wave of acceleration arrives, June asks you to pause long enough to consciously align mind, heart, and will with the future you are seeking to create. This month brings two major shifts. Chiron enters Taurus for the first time in 50 years and Jupiter enters Leo for the first time in 12 years. I have therefore created articles for each event. This will be particularly significant for those with strong Taurus/Scorpio and Leo/Aquarius influences. This month, the personal planets and their energies move in a precise sequence. First, Mercury challenges your way of thinking and your perception, pushing you to change and grow. Then Venus refines your values and priorities, identifying what is truly important at this time. Finally, Mars activates the courage, momentum, and new choices necessary to embark on a new direction. Together, these activations form a sacred progression of awareness. Change the mind, recalibrate the heart, and then consciously choose the path forward. This month's Mercury activations are deeply introspective, inviting you to reassess your way of thinking, your beliefs, and whether your current mental patterns are truly aligned with reality or merely the result of inherited fears, confusion, or outdated conditioning. With Mercury square Neptune, the mental sphere becomes hazy, imaginative, intuitive, and potentially deceptive at the same time. This energy heightens spiritual sensitivity and creative vision, but also increases the possibility of misunderstandings, projections, confusion, or illusions. It becomes easier to hear what you want to hear rather than what is actually being communicated. For this reason, discernment becomes essential. Slow down your reactions, clarify your thoughts, choose your language carefully, and resist the temptation to make assumptions. Not every thought deserves to be believed, and not every feeling reflects objective truth. At the same time, this activation is wonderful for meditation, dream work, journaling, prayer, visualization, and reconnecting with your higher self. June asks you to clear your mind and strengthen your intuitive filter before moving forward. The square between Mercury and Saturn brings a completely different type of pressure, testing the strength, maturity, and realism of your thinking. This energy can feel heavy or challenging because Saturn reveals where your ideas lack structure, where your plans need solidity, and where doubt or pessimism might be silently influencing your choices. Communication may feel blocked or misunderstood, but this is not a punishment. Saturn is simply asking, is your way of thinking sustainable? Are your goals realistic? Are you mentally aligned with the life you claim to want? This is an excellent time for strategic planning, organizing priorities, eliminating distractions, and strengthening the inner design of your future. Instead of becoming overwhelmed by criticism or stress, focus on gradual progress. Clear away mental debris, refine your vision, and build stronger foundations for the next chapter, now rather than later. Together, these Mercury activations reveal that June is not the month to blindly rush forward. It is the month to consciously update your perception, clarify your truth, and think differently about what is possible. Once the mind begins to change, Venus steps in to recalibrate the heart. This month's Venus activations ask you to be radically honest about your values, priorities, relationships, and how you use your resources, including your time, energy, attention, money, and emotional investments. Venus opposite Pluto intensifies everything connected to love, attachment, desire, intimacy, power, and deep emotional exchange. This activation exposes what has become unbalanced, compulsive, manipulative, draining, or unsustainable in your relationships and/or value systems. Anything built on illusion, control, guilt, dependency, or avoidance may now emerge to be purified. Essentially, this is a deep examination of what truly matters to you and whether your life actually reflects those values. Where are you overinvesting? Where are you emotionally suffering while trying to keep up appearances? What are you afraid to let go of? Pluto asks you to stop feeding emotional hunger with temporary distractions and instead trace back to the deepest root of imbalance. If something is ending, changing, or transforming, allow the process to reveal the truth instead of resisting it. What survives this transit often becomes much more authentic and enduring afterward. Fortunately, the trine between Venus and Saturn offers grounding, maturity, and stabilization after Pluto's emotional intensity. This energy fosters healthier commitments, clearer priorities, stronger boundaries, and more realistic long-term planning in relational and financial areas. Saturn helps crystallize what is worth building, protecting, and sustaining. This is a beautiful activation for clarifying your future vision, discussing shared goals, strengthening commitments, and aligning your resources with your true priorities. The relationships, projects, and values that remain solid now are those capable of supporting your future evolution. June asks you to stop investing in what merely distracts you, and to begin consciously cultivating what truly nourishes, stabilizes, and sustains both your body and your soul. Together, these Venus activations redefine value itself. Not surface value, soul value. They ask us, what is truly worth your life force, your time, and your resources? After the mind has recalibrated and the heart has cleared, Mars arrives to activate movement, action, and decision. But this month's Mars transits are not random. They are initiatory. They prepare you for the much broader cycles that will activate in July, bringing clarity to your desires, motivations, direction, and willingness to evolve. The sextile between Mars and Jupiter expands your awareness of future possibilities and encourages you to pursue goals that truly resonate with your soul. This energy restores confidence, optimism, and momentum, while also illuminating new opportunities for growth. It becomes easier to see what might be possible if you are willing to act differently or make new choices for the future. At the same time, balance is important. Jupiter can amplify overconfidence or impulsivity if you move too fast without adequate grounding. Use this energy to explore, learn, connect, and move toward what has deep meaning, rather than toward what is merely exciting. The conjunction between Mars and Uranus then brings the breakthrough moment. This is revolutionary energy, volatile, liberating, disruptive, and deeply awakening. Uranus rejects stagnation, and Mars provides the fuel for change. Together, they break old patterns, identities, restrictions, and limitations that are no longer aligned with who you are becoming. This can be exhilarating or chaotic depending on your resistance to change. You may feel an irresistible urge to reclaim your freedom, give your life a new direction, or start something completely new. The key is conscious redirection rather than impulsive reaction. It is not about destruction for its own sake, but about liberation through detachment, realignment, and renewal. The sextile between Mars and Neptune then softens and spiritualizes the process, helping you reconnect action with purpose and deeper meaning. This activation reminds you that your choices matter most when aligned with vision, compassion, intuition, and soul-level truth. Your instincts sharpen, helping you perceive which direction truly supports your evolution. This is ideal energy for manifesting your dreams, for creative action, for healing work, for spiritual service, and for aligning your actions with your deepest calling. It is no longer enough to simply be busy. Your actions must have substance, purpose, and meaning. Finally, the trine between Mars and Pluto offers the strength to fully commit to transformation. This is deep, focused, powerful momentum that helps you permanently change patterns, behaviors, and choices that no longer support your future. Pluto intensifies Mars's drive, but the trine provides smoother integration and greater self-awareness. You will begin to recognize how your actions either support or sabotage your deepest desires. This is when conscious choice and inner alignment become real. You are no longer just thinking about change. You are embodying it. June is not random preparation. It is a strategic alignment of the soul before a great acceleration. Mercury asks you to change your way of thinking. Venus asks you to elevate your values. Mars asks you to make different choices accordingly. Old ways of thinking, relating, choosing, and living life cannot fully support the new cycles that will emerge in July and beyond. Something fundamental must change first. This month helps reveal where your thoughts are clouded, where your values are misaligned, where your energy is scattered, and where your actions no longer reflect your true purpose. It is not about perfection, but about conscious participation in your evolution. It is time to think differently, value something new, and make new choices because the future that is coming will require a stronger mind, a balanced heart, and a much more authentic relationship with your inner power. Sananda. How explosive will it be? JJK. What concerns me is the question of how extensive the destruction will be before, or even for, the new world to be revealed. I have often been told that the transformation will happen in the most harmonious way possible. From today's perspective, however, I sense that it will probably be a real crash. What is the current state of the ascension process or the transformation process? Sananda. The current situation is upheaval at all levels. The current situation is transformation with pain, transformation without pain. This is the dividing line between people. Change is painful for those who cling to old habits. It is joyful for those who have inwardly overcome them. JJK. But what is the old? What must we overcome or let go of in order to experience change with joy rather than pain? Sananda. The work and the happiness lie in freeing oneself from fear stored in the nervous system and the energy system. Many people have passed through remote eras, experiencing immeasurable suffering and pain. The task that now requires the utmost care is to free oneself from this deep pain through inner healing work. The ascent to the light plane of being, where density gradually decreases, happens with ease once the old wounds of time are healed. Then, together with your history, you will also release your fears. Then you will be free and sovereign. Those who look at today's changes with the eyes of the past will see fear painted on their faces. Salvation comes when you free yourself from your painful history. Then you are free, and the world can no longer harm you. JJK. I wonder whether this cellular memory of the horrors of many eras, for example the sinking of Atlantis, can now be useful for recognizing similar trends and for taking timely countermeasures. We know how a system can deteriorate. We see what others do not see. We perceive that the train is going in the wrong direction. Younger souls are usually unaware of this and passively accept whatever the state and churches decide. For me, self-determination lies precisely in the ability to perceive the big picture and anticipate developments. If I release all the pain of the past, will I still have the desire to change something or to oppose certain events? Because it is important to gain clarity. Sananda. The difference between a purified energy system and an energy system that is still burdened is that the purified person can make decisions without fear, while the decisions of an unpurified person are based on fear. The sincere desire to help, without resorting to defense mechanisms, can only fully emerge in its scope and power after greater clarity has been achieved. Following one's soul plan is something that only those who are connected to the soul can do, and inner reflection and transformative work serve this purpose. JJK. So it is important to clarify things in order to then be able to help shape the new without the weight of the old. Sananda. Everyone does what they have to do, because everyone intuitively follows their own inner path. Some things can be accelerated, but nothing can be forced. The decision to begin the clearing work and to recognize its value lies with the individual. Freeing oneself from old burdens is therefore of fundamental importance in order to be able to reconnect with the primordial power of one's being and with the life that God has destined for us. Acting with this power means that it is the healed consciousness, not the wounded one, that makes decisions. And that is precisely what makes the difference. JJK. Where do we stand with this process of self-healing of humanity? Are more and more people turning away? I sometimes have that feeling. Or are more and more people being reached by God's call to awakening? Where do we stand in this work of transformation? Sananda. Many begin their work, and many abandon it. Souls are guided, souls turn away from their own responsibility. Pauses and setbacks are part of the process. However, what has been achieved and understood once remains. Every insight and every healing effort contributes to the relief and harmonization of the energy of one's own soul and the fundamental energy of humanity. Nothing is in vain. Every healing, no matter how small, has its meaning and influences the whole. Those who abandon the path may have gained deeper insights than those who remain in a continuous cycle of transformation sessions, merely skimming the surface. What timeline do you intend to follow? Today, on the individual healing path, one reaches the point where decisions for change are made. What timeline do you wish to follow? This process has gained momentum, and therefore each person will receive what they desire. At the socio-political level, we have reached the point where the system is beginning to collapse. This too is a process that takes time. This initially manifests itself in the system's increasing attempts to limit people's freedom. This dynamic arises from the system's growing and palpable loss of control. People begin to confidently stand up for their cause. Something that almost no one expected is happening. God's call reaches humanity and transforms the earth. How explosive will the situation become? JJK. How explosive will the situation become? Sananda. Those who wish to destroy the earth will themselves be destroyed. Those who wish to bring death upon humanity will themselves be killed. Those who wish to steal people's souls will lose their own soul. Those who forget God and, possessed by Satan, want to push others into the abyss will themselves fall into the abyss. Those who avoid the light remain in darkness, while those who turn to the light experience God's grace. They are welcomed and enter into His glory. In this world, everything still seems upside down. However, this world is being put right and brought back onto the path of life, thanks to capable people and angels and masters chosen to assist humanity from the subtle realms. I am always with you. Message from the angels. Beautiful differences, dearest friends. We love you so very much. Your world is awakening little by little. People are tired of the battle. It takes a lot of energy to resist love for your neighbor. Your nature is to love. The flow of energy that flows from the Creator through you is love. You desire to feel love more than anything else, and you enjoy it when others recognize your love. Why then do you engage in arguments instead of dialogue? Why do you feel the need to be right instead of opening up to new perspectives? In simple terms, your body is programmed for survival, and most of you have been conditioned to believe that homogeneity guarantees survival. If people think like me, act like me, and want what I want, then we are united. We are safe. And so the myth that homogeneity equals survival has been perpetuated. It is understandable, but it is nonetheless far from the truth. In reality, it is precisely your differences that make you strong. Your different perspectives allow you to observe the world's problems and possible solutions from different angles. You have surely heard the phrase, "Let's put our heads together and find a solution." Dear friends, by dialoguing about differences, you learn from one another. You see things you have never seen before, and think things you have never thought before. You find solutions that would have been impossible from a single perspective. You know this well. When you cannot find a solution to a problem in your life, you seek someone who might have the answers. You search the web. You ask your artificial intelligence, which is a collection of different perspectives. You find your answers by seeking out those with different knowledge and viewpoints. Your own biology, your body, is a collection of trillions of cells, each with a unique perspective on the right way to be, the right things to do, and the right way to interact with others. These differences are crucial to your very existence, not to mention your health and well-being. Even in ecosystems, dear friends, it is differences that maintain balance. In nature, it is not about the survival of the most dominant, but of the fittest, and the fittest are those who have learned to interact, to harness differences constructively, and to avoid destructive ones. And it is right there, dear friends, that you will find great progress in your world, when you join forces to solve the problems and challenges of life. So be proud of your uniqueness. You fit perfectly into this great puzzle of life. You contribute to the good of the whole. Your energy, with its unmistakable signature, is a wonderful note in the universal music. Your words can touch people in the right way, even if something has already been said 1,000,000 times. Your kindness can arrive in the perfect form to soothe a needy soul. You are precious, and so is everyone else. Even those you hate have a place in the puzzle of life, if only to provide the necessary nourishment for your growth toward greater love. So celebrate, dear friends, and take care of yourselves as the energies continue to shift and change. Like birth contractions, more light arrives, and then denser energies struggle to exist, both in world situations and in your hearts. Be kind to yourselves, so you can be kinder to others. Be kind to your bodies. And, above all, realize that you are playing a significant role in the great awakening you came to experience. Seek the light. It is always there, but now more than ever, people long for connection, kindness, and a reconnection with their compassionate hearts. God bless you. We love you so much. The angels.